Hey, Pisces, happy October. I'm Madeleine, if we haven't met before. And if we have met before, welcome back. Very excited to see you and read for you and see what the story is for you this month. Before we get into your cards, I want to give you a couple of important dates. If you are not aware, Pisces, this is the month of eclipses. You'll be experiencing a solar eclipse, which is like a new moon on steroids, right? So clean the slate. What's ahead? What do I want? What is, if I have an empty pot, what do I want to pour into that pot? What do I want to have cooking up and ready for me 6 months from now when the corresponding full moon in Libra comes in March of 2024? You don't have to do anything on the eclipse. In fact, I'd recommend a little bit of just time and space to see what shows up inside of you and around you and kind of making some of those intuitive connections that you're so great at making, but just letting you know. And I'll get into more of that in next week's video when I'm going to put up some video horoscopes and talk about the solar eclipse and what it's doing for each of the signs. And then at the end of the month, on October 28th, we'll have the corresponding lunar eclipse, the full moon in Taurus. And that is your house of communications, daily contacts. So there's some availability for massive change around the way that you merge or surrender your power with others. And who and how do you talk? How do you share information? We're going to talk about it. Ooh, I'm excited to see what is coming up for you. So we're going to get into the story of your month, and then I will close the reading by pulling from the Star Code Astro Oracle. Highly recommend, to give you a little bit of advice to walk away with. How to show up best and walk through this story and see the themes coming up. Before we even got together, I was doing my thing and, talking to Spirit, pulling a few cards. And Spirit was talking about there's a shift in the way that Pisces is managing and considering their resources. So money, effort, attention, anything that you can pay, anything that you can invest. Your pentacles. We'll see if it shows up in the spread. But Spirit was talking about, when you change the way you relate to resources, you can change the amount of resources or the type of resources that you begin to be open to receiving or attracted to, or etc. Let's find out, shall we? Let's see what is showing up for Pisces people this month, Spirit. Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We always want to know the truth for their highest good. How can we bring Pisces toward peace, ease, abundance, security, love, joy, freedom? What do they need to know? What's going on this month? And how do you want to guide them, Spirit? What information do you want to share with Pisces for the month of October, for their highest good? Month of October, Spirit, Pisces, just a few more. What's going on around them? What's going on within? And how can they leverage those things to have the best future possible, Spirit? What do they need to know about the present, the recent past, as it pertains to that unfolding future? Perfect. Pisces. My Pisces friends and family. Spirit is highlighting your intuition again. I haven't seen the cards. We'll see. Do we got a High Priestess? Do we got any of those folks? Queen of Cups, King of Cups. You can trust yourself, Pisces. I think that the rub can be separating your intuitive voice from maybe your fear voice or your thought voice or etc. So you might want to create, again, this theme of creating space to, okay, maybe when I'm in a moment of anxiety, that's not the best time to, for example, read my own cards or stuff like that. It's like the energy that I'm coming at whatever this with is going to be it's going to show up in the output. You know what I mean? If I mix grief into the soil of this project that I'm trying to do, it's like, no, I don't have time to grieve. I have to go ahead and do this right now. There's going to be some grief or whatever in the outcome. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay. If you don't know, we're going to figure it out. Let's get into your cards. Wow. Jeez. I'll pop them up right here. You're going to be able to see what I'm looking at. What a dichotomy. Pisces. Whew, that's a relief. Okay. Whew, okay. I see good outcomes and a happier, much warmer future moving forward, but it definitely does look like you need to make some adjustments. Make some adjustments. Are you trying to move when you have nothing? Are you trying to push yourself to get through something when you're kind of like dead on your feet, exhausted? Ten of Swords at the center of your reading. Something has been done to death, and you did everything that you could. So if spirit can alleviate one thing, is you really tried. You're not wrong. This thing is really like, okay, so you're exhausted. You're over it. You're done. And the dawn is rising in the background. You can see here in the pinkening sky, things will get warmer. And if we look at your future real quick, just to jump there, you have the Four of Wands. So things will indeed get warmer. You will indeed feel a sense of support and community by the end of October that I feel like maybe you're feeling right now like you are lacking. So Ten of Swords is like a little bit of a scary card. Can't get around that imagery. But the swords represent the mind, Pisces. So it's like mental exhaustion, a feeling of defeat, um, which is, of course, temporary because life is a series of peaks and valleys. We're not like on an escalator up to, everything gets better, 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 better. Things get hard, things get a little better. It happens. So I say that to say if you feel enmeshed or engulfed in this feeling, this is going to pass. And as a matter of fact, completion of a cycle would seem to be a theme here. The world crossing the center of your reading. What is showing up? What is having the greatest effect in your life? What is asking for your attention? What have you learned? What have you learned through your Ten of Swords experience? What particularly have you learned about taking better care of yourself, protecting yourself? The Queen of Swords is sitting in the basement of your reading. A lot of swords, you notice. Again, things get much warmer and brighter as we move into the future. But here in the present, it's like, okay, there's been a bit of overthinking, overanalyzing, maybe trying to like think your way through a problem that Spirit is talking about. Hey, Pisces, you're an intuitive soul. If you've been trying to like calculate how to do something, I don't feel like that's working in your favor. I feel like it's good to have boundaries. The Queen of Swords does have great boundaries. It becomes a problem if you're protecting yourself. Okay, I'll say it this way. It's a question of what are you protecting yourself from? If your boundaries are protecting you from people who have violated you, then great, awesome, good. If your boundaries are protecting you from growing into this new aspect of yourself, then they need to be revised, right? Having a solar eclipse in the eighth house, is a scary house. It's the Plutonian house. It's the Scorpio house, even though yours is not ruled by Scorpio. This is not an astrology lesson. The eighth house is the house of transformation. Pisces, that when the caterpillar gets in its cocoon and gets ready to become a butterfly, that shit liquefies completely. That's what this looks like to me. An aspect of you, an aspect of the way that you've been thinking or calculating that has not been serving you, that is actually creating a lot of clouds, is actually creating confusion, what I would call static, that gets in the way, like the channel between, like as you try to find the channel of your intuition, as you're turning that dial, it's like when you think those types of thoughts. I'm a failure at this, or I should have been at this place, or blah, 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 blah. Those are not, I love the Queen of Swords. Those are Queen of Swordsy thoughts. It's like sometimes we turn the sword back on ourselves because that feels less painful than that growth into that new aspect. It's like this actually, I know, oh, sorry, I forget that I have this thing on. This actually, I'm used to. I'm used to punishing myself for the fact that other people can't meet my needs or fill in the blank. No more of that. It's not serving you. And I feel for and want to like send warmth and peace and love to any of you that are experiencing like depression or really, really powerful anxiety. A lot of swords, a lot of swords, and like the painful swords, the overthinking swords. You know, whenever you feel a little too in your head, a really good practice can be to breathe in for 4, out for 8. Or, you know, if that doesn't work, breathe in for 3, out for 6. Whatever it is, you want to double the time of the inhale on that exhale. And as you're breathing in for 4 and out for 8, you might want to find where in your body that you're having the most intensity. And you can put your hands there and you can keep breathing in for 4, out for 8, and start noticing, like, oh, okay, what does this feel like? You know, what texture, what weight inside of my body? Maybe it's in your belly, maybe it's in your chest, maybe it's in your head. Touch that place. Listen to that place. Commune with that place in a way that has nothing to do with thinking and analyzing and like cognitive anything. Just be with it and feel what it is. And notice that as you maybe rock side to side or like hum to yourself as you're finding this place and putting your hands on it, notice if something shifts. Notice if something relieves or brings more intensity or etc. Commune with your body. Your mind is a lot this month. Drop into your body. You're going to learn a lot and it's going to be worth it. In the position where you find yourself, if it's a question of whether to go with Queen of Swords or King of Wands behavior, I say go for the Wands. I feel that you have someone also supporting you that has that kind of warmth, that kind of strength. When I talk about Queens and Kings, for me, it has nothing to do with gender and everything to do with personality type. So the Queen of Swords is showing up in kind of like the hidden or internal factor. So Queen of Swords is coming out in terms of maybe you're being a little bit careful with people. King of Wands may be showing up as a person in the external, but they are showing up so that you can resonate with that aspect of them and find that aspect in yourself. So, who's your King of Wands person? A King of Wands is a professional creative. If I had to like try to make it as succinct as possible, that is a person who is charismatic. I said creative. They can command a room just with the power of their presence. It's not the King of Swords where it's like, ooh, that's a fearsome person. The King of Wands is the kind of person that people gather around and follow of their own volition. So they tend to be natural leaders. So this person does their own thing, very likely. And I want to say like it's off the beaten path, but not too far. It's like they're a creative and they get to do it for themselves. And maybe Pisces, you're resonating with this. So then you will know that there's maybe somebody in the external, but this is about you gripping that part of yourself. I'm going to say over that Queen of Swords. I am demonstrably great at fill in the blank. King of Wands. What is your wand? What is your fire? What lights you up? For some of you, I feel that this is like a partner, whether that's romantic, creative, business, because showing up in the future, 4 of Wands. Woohoo! Glory, hallelujah. Celebration, homecoming, a sense of community, a sense of warmth and joy and fun and togetherness. It's a really wonderful card for, you know, they call it the wedding card, or in modern parlance, we might call it the commitment card, like the moving in together card, or the showing up at a family, like the gathering card. Okay. So I see this wonderful foundation for you to launch from. I mean, and 4 of Wands would be very 8th house things. That's like mergers. You know, the 7th house is partnership. So it's like, you know, first comes love, 5th house, then comes marriage. We're going to skip into the 7th house. And you know, that whole thing about the baby carriage. That's the 8th house. Now, your baby carriage doesn't have to be literal, but it's like, what happens when we when we truly bring our powers together, our lives together, our bank accounts together? Because it's like, oh, now the type of bond that if you end up getting like blasted in the public eye, it's going to bleed over onto me because we're that fused. You know what I'm saying? So it's like lawyers that are Dewey hack'em and whatever the fuck. Okay. You might be making a resolution with somebody. You might be dissolving something with one institution or person or thing so that you can be with this other thing free and clear, homecoming, joy, light. Don't hold on so tightly. I see Four of Pentacles is sitting in the position of what is available around you. It's tough times. It's like recession, right? We're still recovering. There's a little bit of having to hold on to resources tightly. The Four of Pentacles would warn you that even when we have to maybe like spend less or like tighten our budget or whatever it is, we don't want to get tight in our hearts. You know what I mean? We can still be generous with our time. We can still be generous with even the like attitude with which we pay people for things that we care about. It's like, fuck, I didn't really want to go to the fucking dentist or whatever, but I am really glad that my teeth are fixed. You know what I mean? And kind of leaning more on that side of the tough part of practical things. It's like, I'm really invested in this though, so this is worth it. Changing the way I relate to my resources. Because again, I see expansion, growing out of a Four of Pentacles place and into the key and conclusion card, a Nine of Pentacles place. Nine of Pentacles meaning, wow, I have done so well for myself. Look at what I've been able to do all on my own. Maybe you had some help, maybe you had some assistance, but this is like, again, this is about you doing your thing and being able to go, look, and everybody being able to see the tangible results. It's like either money in your bank account or I started knitting and now look at all these little animals I've created. It's like that could be the Nine of fucking Pentacles. Where is that in your life? Or where is the potential for that in your life? Or maybe you might be holding on or a little scared. Eight of Swords, Four of Pentacles, a similar kind of like, I don't know about that energy. It's like you have it, but you're scared that you won't have it. That's that type of energy. That's not working for you. That's not serving you. And it looks like, Eight of Swords sitting in your past. It looks like maybe you've been doing that for a while and you probably know what this is. And I don't want you to fucking shame, blame, judge yourself. That is not the fucking point. What have I learned? What have I learned? That's what's going to help you grow and move forward, especially into like a happy, joyful, financially and philosophically fulfilled place of like abundance. So a sense of abundance within translates to a sense of abundance without, right? We're listening to a tarot reading. We can get a little woo woo with it, right? Like as within, so without, as above, so below. If you are feeling bereft, if you are feeling like, oh my God, I don't have enough, I don't have it, I don't have it, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, I'm not enough, we start to see those things reflected in the world. So instead of worrying about going out and doing a bunch of heavy lifting in the external world, we always recommend action, going with your emotional work, but start on the inside because you don't have to do a bunch of fucking heavy lifting and pulling against your unconscious in a tug of war for like, no, but I'm worth it. No, we're not. Like, okay, you know what? Let's just go in here and get on our own side so that we're all pulling on the same side of the rope. Does that make sense? Justice. Making decisions that bring balance. Let's all get on our own side. Let's get clear. Let's make decisions that are aligned with what it is that we want to do and be and create. So if I am saying that I have a goal of XYZ, am I making choices? Am I using my head and my heart to figure out, okay, what is really going to make that possible for me? And if I'm not, let me check that. It's eclipse season. Massive change is just on the fucking docket. So if I can engage with what that change is going to be, let me engage with it in a way that is like most efficient and effective. So again, what have I learned from the times that I've held myself back or kicked myself? Or what has feeling like not enough done for me? Because, here's the ugly truth is a lot of our shadowier or more difficult emotions or maladaptive coping mechanisms, they make us feel good. They make us feel safe, or they make us feel, like, it's like I'm so nice and small in here where nobody can see me. Whew, that feels good. And there, again, no fucking blame, no shame, no judgment. We don't do that here. We just want to notice if that's happening. And then we can, little by little, thought by thought, bring in a different, bring in a different voice, bring a little weight to the other side of the scale and say, hey, actually, here are some things that you're really wonderful at. And remember the times that you've done this, this, and that was so cool and so amazing. That's the King of Wands. It's like somebody who has made a strong and steady career out of being like a professional fucking cheerleader. Only they're helping you do like emotional backflips and stunts and shit, Okay. Let us close this reading, Spirit, with some wisdom from the stars. Looking at the story that Pisces is walking through this month, the cycles that they are completing, the new things that they will be celebrating. Spirit, what do you want to share with them as a final bit of insight or guidance for Pisces in the month of October? Uranus, change, eclipse season, change, progress. It might be a little shocking, but Sagittarius, it is leading to expansion. Your fellow mutable sign, Sagittarius, but in fire. So, change allows you to expand. If Spirit could have just said the same thing throughout the whole damn reading. This way has been working. You can change this, and everything is going to start to happen in a way that feels much less confining and much more supportive. Sagittarius is a lot more like a King of Wands than a Queen of Swords. And Uranian energy means sudden progress, sudden insight. Expect that this month. And indeed, do one better and purposefully make room for that type of insight. Like meditate. Or if you hate to meditate or that doesn't sound good to you, it's like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to take a 30-minute walk every morning or evening or whatever time works for you. And I'm not going to bring my headphones. I'm not going to bring my, or at least if I bring my phone for safety reasons, I'm not going to scroll it. I'm not going to have my headphones in. I'm just going to create space where signs can occur to me. Spirit can talk to me. I am purposefully creating a container where I can receive higher wisdom. Sagittarius leads to my expansion. Uranus. Wow, Eureka. Where did it come from? Came from you. Ain't that great? Ain't that great, Pisces? How's this hitting? What are you thinking? Is any of this, are you recognizing any of this already? I would love to hear comments, stories, anything you got. Thank you for being here, Pisces. And if you ever want a personal reading, you can check out my website, madelinethevillagewitch.com, or the description box, where you can do all the things. Thank you again for being here, Pisces. And if I don't see you in your video horoscope next week, then I hope I will see you in your mid-month reading. Bye-bye.